Good morning, colleagues, and good morning, Pretoria. Is there somebody in Pretoria?
Yes, morning, DG, it's David.
Okay, thanks, David. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with the post-cabinet briefing. Minister Kubayi-Ngubane is going to address you, and it's over to you, Minister.
Good morning, colleagues, both here and Pretoria. Thank you very much for joining us. We must never take for granted that you are here to listen to our statement. Indeed, Cabinet met yesterday on the 15th of November. It's almost the second last Cabinet for the year here in Cape Town. The first issue we would want to communicate, and that Cabinet looked at, was Cabinet welcomes Ford Motor Company's 3 billion investment into Silverton plant, Pretoria, Gauteng. This investment will result in the creation of direct and indirect jobs due to the expected increased production of its Ford range model. Such investments affirm the work that we continue to do as government in growing the economy and addressing the challenges of unemployment through government's 7.8 billion incentive scheme in automotive production and development program. 28.5 billion private investment have been unlocked. This includes the announcement by Toyota to manufacture their new Toyota Hilux and Fortuner models as part of 6.1 billion investment. Also, BMW plans to construct a 6 billion state-of-the-art body shop in the country. The Beijing Automobile International Corporation plans to invest 11 billion in an automotive manufacturing plant in South Africa. We recognize this because, colleagues, it's important to have investment coming into the country and as well seeing our economy turning around from where we are. Again, as Cabinet, we want to extend our gratitude to South Africans who have already submitted their tax return for 2016-2017 tax year, understanding that this is a critical area of our work as citizens, being responsible. The revenue generated from income tax ensures government has the capacity to provide much needed services and social support to millions of less fortunate South Africans. Cabinet reminds taxpayers that the deadline for submission is Friday, 24th of November next week, 2017, and encourages all of us to ensure that we submit our tax return. We further received a report and acknowledge the work that has been done by both Minister of COGTA and Minister of Small Business Development, Minister Van Rooyen and Minister Zulu, in the work that they have done in leading a national LED conference. And what we are happy about is it presented the opportunity to craft a new South African local economic development agenda guided by the National Development Plan priorities. Its outcomes included the launch of the first Economic Development Council of South Africa, which aims to professionalize the economic development sector. Again, what we acknowledge and noted as Cabinet was the historic launch of the Global Entrepreneurship Week, GEW, at 22 on Sloan, a new startup campus on the 10th of November 2017, in which Minister of Small Business Development, Minister Zulu, hosted World Entrepreneurship luminary Sir Richard Branson. The campus is the first one opened by the Global Entrepreneurship Network, offering direct and virtual support services to entrepreneurs throughout Africa, as well as access to an international network of mentors, investors, and entrepreneurial support organizations. During Global Entrepreneurship Week, roughly 10 million participants take place in 35,000 events, activities, and competition in more than 165 countries around the world. Cabinet further noted the release on Monday, the 13th of November 2017, the report of the HIHA Commission, which is the report on Commission of Inquiry into the feasibility of making higher education and training free in South Africa. Cabinet calls on all South Africans to study the report and its implication for the country while the recommendations are being considered by government. The President will make a pronouncement on the report in due course after processing by the Interministerial Committee on Higher Education Funding and the Presidential Fiscal Committee. Government remains determined to resolve the barriers to access higher education and looks forward to concluding a sustainable solution for higher education funding. We will note, colleagues, that the current dam levels in the country remain a concern as there is more evaporation than rainfall. The fact that South Africans have not received sufficient rainfall to recharge our water sources to adequate levels means that the country is not yet out of the drought situation. Forecast predicts that the country will only receive its major rainfall from the beginning of January 2018. Cabinet wishes to assure the public that national, provincial, and local government are cooperating and working together to ensure South Africa does not run out of water. Cabinet encourages everyone to play their part in saving and using water wisely and sparingly. On the Zimbabwe developments, Cabinet supports the intervention by President Jacob Zuma in his capacity as chair of SADC in response to the Zimbabwean situation that has been unfolding few days. He has sent special envoys, Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Ms. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, and State Security Minister, Advocate Bongani Bongo. They are to meet, their mandate is to meet with President Robert Mugabe and the Zimbabwean Defense Force. They will thereafter proceed to brief President Joao Lorenzo as the chairperson of the SADC organ of politics, defense, and security. Further updates on this matter, colleagues, will be communicated at the level of presidency. On the square kilometer array, Cabinet welcomes the economic and social development achievements derived from the focused investment in social development in the region of the SKA, South Africa. Communities neighboring the SKA area continue to benefit through better education and training projects, investment in small businesses, and increased job opportunities. The Department of Science and Technology, under the leadership of Minister Pandor, will hold a public participation program to celebrate achievement with the communities around Carnarvon, Northern Cape, from 16 to 19 November 2017. We move to Cabinet decisions. Cabinet was appraised on the second performance quarterly progress reports for 2017-2018, which is July to September 2017, by all the 5 clusters. This forms part of Cabinet's broad monitoring and evaluation of the program of action derived from the medium-term strategic framework 2014 to 2019. The Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation and the Ministerial Clusters Community will conduct media briefings to unpack the process of these reports. We'll communicate, colleagues, the dates of those schedules so that we can have those media briefings per cluster in terms of the report that has been done. And that schedule will be available on the GCIS website, government website. Cabinet was briefed on the progress report on the implementation of the Constitutional Court judgment to assign addresses to the voters' roll. Cabinet appreciated the full compliance with the 6 monthly progress report submitted to the Constitutional Court. To date, the IEC, working with other stakeholders and other state agencies, has attained almost 75% success in collecting the addresses of potential voters. Cabinet was also briefed on the planned program by the SAPO to assist those who do not have physical addresses. This is assigning of new addresses to those who do not have. Cabinet is pleased with the progress and the collaboration work conducted by SAPO, the IC, and other state agencies on the assignment of address project. Cabinet further calls on those who have not updated their addresses to do so during the next voter registration week, which will be announced by IEC in March 2018. Upcoming events: President Jacob Zuma will undertake a working visit to participate in and co-chair the 4th session of the South Africa-Botswana PNC, to be held in Gaborone, Botswana on Friday, 17th November 2017. South Africa and Botswana meet annually at the level of heads of state within the framework of the PNC to review bilateral cooperations and discuss issues of common interest. The two countries enjoy cordial relations, which are informed by cultural ties and geographical proximity. They cooperate on a number of issues, including transport, trade, investment, health, environmental issues, etc. South Africa is one of Botswana's major trading partners, with several South African companies operating in that country. We further also note that President Zuma will host His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Angola, for a historic state visit to South Africa from the 23rd November 2017. This will be his first state visit to our country after his inauguration last year. The two countries have historical and fraternal ties dating back from the days of the liberation struggle, when Angola housed and supported South Africa liberation cadres in various camps in the country. Trade and economic cooperation between the two countries has grown substantially, to the extent that South Africa is Angola's #1 trading partner on the continent. Many South African companies are conducting business in Angola in a variety of sectors, including construction, mining, housing, retail, food, beverage, hotels, leisure, banking, and medical services. During his visit, President Lorenzo will also host a lecture on the 24th of November at OR Tambo Building in Pretoria. My apologies, I said last year, they actually feels long. It was in August this year, the elections in Angola. 16 days of activism. We're calling on all South Africans to stand and join Cabinet in standing against women and child abuse. The 16 days of activism for non-violence against women and children campaign is taking place from, as we know, from the 25th to the 10th December. And this year's theme is Count Me In, Together Moving a Non-Violent South Africa Forward. President Zuma will launch the 16 days of activism campaign in the Eastern Cape on Saturday, the 25th November 2017. And it will focus on the continued rollout of national dialogues, which encourages people to talk about their scourge of gender-based violence. This will be preceded by International Men's Day on Sunday, 19 November 2017. We further note the work that is being done by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, which will undertake the second community radio campaign under its Let's Talk Justice series, which brings government services to people by providing listeners with an opportunity to engage with officials on topics. The launch of Sexual Offences Court during the campaign will also ensure better access to the justice system. All people in South Africa are urged to wear a white ribbon as a symbolic pledge towards eliminating the scourge from our society. Cabinet calls on all society in participating in Red Ribbon Friday activations ahead of World AIDS Day on 1st December. And up until the end of that month, wearing a red ribbon in a symbol of solidarity and commitment to the fight against HIV and AIDS. This year's theme is My Right to Know My Status, Prevention is My Responsibility, which links to the global theme, the right to health. This bolsters implementation of South Africa's National Strategic Plan for HIV, Tuberculosis and Sexual Transmitted Illnesses 2017 to 2022, which is a key pillar in South Africa's progress towards achieving universal health care, as reflected in the NDP, which promotes a healthier, stronger, and more equitable nation. During the period, we will be having, as members of the executive, our Imbizo Focus Week during the period of 16 days of activism and the World AIDS Day. All members of executive are expected to host Imbizos between the 27th of November to the 3rd of December. This will be our 7th National Imbizo Focus Week. And all schedules will be communicated from the teams of ministers together with GCIS will do that so that members of the media and communities can join members of the executive to be part of those. Coming on other decisions on under bills, Cabinet approved the publication of a notice in terms of Section 74, subsection 5 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996. The aim is to initiate a national and provincial consultation process for purposes of effecting changes to provincial boundaries in respect to Matatiele local municipality in the Eastern Cape and certain areas of Baga Mothiba in Northwest. The intended redetermination of the provincial boundaries emanates from the communities of the areas in question who wish to be relocated to the neighboring provinces. Coming to messages, Cabinet congratulates France as the preferred host for the 2023 Rugby World Cup and thanks government's delegation headed by Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, Sports and Recreation Minister Thulas Nxesi, and the South African Rugby Union for the work done in promoting South Africa's bid to host the event. We're saying next time we'll try again. Cabinet congratulates again Minister Pandor, who was awarded the Outstanding Educator Award. The award was presented to Minister Pandor by the Chancellor of the University of South Africa, former President Thabo Mbeki. The Outstanding Educator Award, one of the 4 categories, acknowledges the contribution of any outstanding educator who has excelled in or advanced teaching, learning, skills development, or research in their areas of expertise. Cabinet commends the work done by the South African Astronomical Observatory, which is part of the wide-angle Search for Planets Consortium of planets hunters who have detected 3 new planets. Cabinet congratulates the participants and winners of the 2017 Government Mbeki Awards, which honor those in the construction sector who have excelled in the delivery of houses. The awards come as the country continues to celebrate the delivery of over 4.6 million houses and subsidies since 1994. Finally, Cabinet extends its gratitude to the brave actions by emergency services, firefighters, and all volunteers who assisted in dealing with the recent fires in the Western Cape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Can we start with Pretoria for questions? David?
There are no questions in Pretoria, DG.
Okay, thanks. Cape Town? I think that was the first one, then it will be you. Yeah. Yes, it's you.
Thank you very much. Kulegani from Business Day. Minister, just wanted to get an indication of if Minister of Transport, Joe Masongane, mentioned at all concerns that regarding Sandral and Prasa, which he communicated to the Portfolio Committee on Transport last week, that it was foremost on his mind and that he would address Cabinet about the matter, and especially given the reports of potential write-offs of e-tolling debts, which Sandra was prompt to try and clarify as being a matter of conflation between debt write-off and debt impairment, and all of these matters related to Sandra as a going concern. Just wanted to find out if he mentioned any of that at all. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, Linda Insor, Business Day. I don't know whether the Cabinet discussed at all the reported proposal for free higher education, university education. Thank you.
Lula Mamaja, SABC. Minister, just wondering if the Cabinet did get a briefing from State Security Minister on whether on the President Keeper's book if it is off the shelf as per the letter from the minister.
Minister Wendell from Reuters. Just wanted to check the delegation to Zimbabwe. Did they land and are they effectively in the country? Because there's been some sort of suggestion that they were turned back. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start with Kulekani. No, Minister Maswanganye has not yet submitted the cabinet memo. The process is that he would have to submit through the cabinet committees, which are sitting next week, and then cabinet. So with yesterday's cabinet, we didn't have the matter on the agenda. Linda, on the reported free education, as we said that there's a team that is given the responsibility to work in terms of finding implementable solution. They have not tabled the report. Hence, we welcome the release for society to engage so that by the time cabinet says this is the direction we're taking, and South Africans would be able to apply their mind and see that this is happening. So it's something that we're still waiting. We'll deal with it later once they are done with their work. Lula Mano, State Security Minister, didn't brief cabinet in terms of his intention and his work on the book. In terms of the delegation, yes, the delegation is in Zimbabwe doing the work. They have arrived in Zimbabwe. That's the information we have. Thank you very much.
Thanks. One last round. Pretoria, you still don't have any question? Okay.
Yes, no further questions.
Okay,
DG.
thank you. The last one here, nothing. Minister, we've come to the end of the briefing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, colleagues.